A night for the ladies.
What's up? It's your girl Tay with Ladies Night YouTube, and I'm back at you one more again in regards to our wonderful President Donald Trump and the State of the Union on the 30th of January. Alrighty, people. Now, the big whoop is this unemployment rate for African Americans, and apparently there's like a big drop, and unemployment is at an all-time low. Across the board, nationally, unemployment is at an all-time low for everybody, including African Americans. This is one of the things that President Trump wanted to make sure that he pointed out at the State of the Union. I also felt a little uncomfortable for the individuals that he brought forth to give acknowledgement to in their situations with unemployment, and to prove his point and use as a part of his agenda for basically alienating illegal immigrants in the United States. I feel like, as a parent myself, I do not like the fact that he used those parents to contribute to his agenda. He used the pain of two families to push a very biased agenda in the United States that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I will admit that. But we're going to go back to the unemployment rate, because clearly this is like the biggest story of the week. Because Jay-Z, as everybody knows, made a comment or two about Trump during an interview. And let's be clear, I am not taking sides, and I am not taking away from anybody's victory when I start speaking of numbers. But men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So with that being said, I'm going to jump on in here and we're going to go over the unemployment rate. Okay. Again, I'm not going to take away from President Trump in stating that the unemployment rate is at an all-time low. Yes, it is. The African American unemployment rate is low. It is the lowest that it has ever been. This is true. However, it is still the highest unemployment rate reported in the United States. That's one. And two, we're going to adjust our attention to Exhibit A, which is the most up-to-date information as of January 31st. If you look at the chart for the unemployment rate for the Black or African Americans in the United States, since this had to be addressed, and I feel like this had to be addressed because, let's be honest, President Trump made a couple of hits at a couple of ethnic groups during the State of the Union that personally I feel needs to be addressed, especially because we have African American people who are really defending this man and really saying he single-handedly is the reason for the decline, which unfortunately he is not. And let's again bring our attention back to the numbers. In 2008 and in 2009, there were significant jumps in the rise of unemployment with African Americans. Now, if you look at 2009, that was the year that President Obama was elected into office. Now, if you want to be realistic, or if you just want to be honest with yourselves and just read the numbers, mind you, these numbers are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so these are not numbers that are fabricated. These are not numbers that I just came up with and pulled out of the sky. These are numbers that I went online and pulled from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So if you want to check this chart, Google it, go on to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, you will find these same numbers. This is not a joke, okay? So if you, again, pay attention to the numbers, let's be real, there is a steady decline from the year 2011 to 2017. So this is not something that we can attribute to Trump's White House. This is something that we can attribute to previous work being done in the United States of America. I do not want to take away from his blind victory. By all means, Trump supporters, rah, rally it up, congratulate yourselves, each other's, the president. Do what you got to do to make yourselves feel good. But the numbers don't lie. President Trump has been in office for a year. But still, if we want to be realistic, these numbers have consistently dropped starting in 2011. And honestly, if you want to look at the beginning of the drop, it was like 0.1% was in 2010, and it has consistently dropped every year since then. And honestly, the biggest jump was actually in 2012, between 2012 and 2013, where it jumped from 14 down to 11. That's 3%. And then you're looking at between 16 and 17, it jumped 1%. So again, I'm not taking away from the blind victory that is the Trump White House. However, if we are honest with ourselves, people, and if we actually, and this is information that is available to all citizens of the United States or any individual who has access to the internet and the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. This can be found on there. So I'm not attributing nothing to the Trump White House because he has done nothing for African Americans. In fact, he has done nothing but use us to support his agendas, which, let's be honest, this is a thing that politicians do. So it isn't anything that's new to anybody that actually follows politics. Let's be real. But I'm standing with Jay-Z. And for Mr. CJ Pearson, who took to the internet, the 15-year-old who clearly did not check his statistics before he spoke on Jay-Z not speaking and not caring about African Americans. No, Jay-Z cares about the education of African Americans, sounding educated and looking a certain part so that you can be a part of the agenda does not help African Americans. Actually making sure that they are educated on the true facts does. So Mr. Young Man, have several seats and go do some research. And then again for the diamond and silk, you ladies have been on this earth long enough to know better. And that's all I'm going to say about that, okay? So I'm going to agree with Jay-Z. It was funny when he said it, and the reality of it is Trump did nothing but stand behind a desk and signed a few papers, stand in front of a podium, and read off of a teleprompter. Okay? It's been real.
A night for the ladies. A night for the ladies.